demon are you?
We're gonna need a bigger cross.
Welcome back to Kris Vents. I'm your host, back with Dom, the disembodied Discord voice. Sorry we haven't put up a new one of these in 2 weeks, but I got an Elgato, and I've been playing around with it.
And I've been suffering a near total emotional and mental breakdown. So our schedules really lined up there.
Yeah, but today we're back with another venting. Today we're talking about a movie that I actually saw. Like Cuck, I saw it a couple years ago, and this is worse than Cuck. It's almost as bad as The Last Light. It almost, just a little bitty cunt hair away from being as bad as The Last Light. And I'm talking about Shark Exorcist.
Oh, was the lighting better?
Do what?
Was the lighting better?
Oh, well, let's say there's more stuff going on in Shark Exorcist than there is in The Last Light.
The name of the movie makes me think that it's like Sharknado, where they try to make it deliberately bad, so it becomes good by, wraparound. Is that what they were going for?
If that's what they were going for, then they failed miserably, because this movie feels more like a major tax write-off. It feels like they had a title, and they had an idea for a poster, and then they just shot a bunch of shit around that concept.
So, give me the rundown. What's our plot?
That assumes that there actually is something resembling a plot, because this movie doesn't have so much a narrative as it does a collection of filmed events put to music.
I think Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, except this is only an hour and 10 minutes long.
Alright, so it's not as bad.
Yeah, and watching this is on Tubi right now for free, so Rise of Skywalker, I mean, you have to have a Disney subscription or buy the Blu-ray.
What are some of these filmed events?
I think I Hate Everything said it best. It's a movie that centers around a whole bunch of, and then this happens. Like, it starts with this nun walking through a cemetery for reasons, and then she stabs somebody to death, and then drags them into the ocean and calls upon Satan to send her an avenger because she's a psycho serial killer.
Psycho serial killer nun?
Apparently, she only shows up like in the beginning and at the end, so she just bookends the movie.
Oh, okay. So the nun is the main villain. Okay.
Then we cut to like 1 year later, and it's these three chicks traveling to a lake to go tanning. I don't know why. I don't know why they have to go specifically to this one lake. But one of them decides to go swimming, while the other two decide to go tanning in the shade. And that's not a joke either. Like, they are literally under the shade of the tree, as they're supposed to be laying on the ground tanning. The chick who goes swimming gets bitten by this demon shark. And when they pull her out of the water, it doesn't look like a shark bite on her leg. And it's only on her leg. It looks like somebody just squirted ketchup on her upper thigh. But then it doesn't take very long for her to get healed, and then she starts suddenly a killer shark starts infesting the water, and it's clearly the shark bite victim because she's kind of luring people into the water and then attacking them. Like her first victim is this guy that picks her up hitchhiking. Dude looks like he's in his 40s and he's on his way to a Limp Bizkit concert. Which going to a Limp Bizkit concert is sad no matter what your fucking age is.
Well, since we're at this point, I should ask, how's the acting at this point?
Porn quality.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it's that level of... Every line sounds like it should be punctuated with...
Wanna fuck?
And it's not because of the dialogue, it's just because of the way it's just because of their tone of voices.
Even the priest.
The priest.
And the nun.
Oh god, I got some fucking things to say about the priest. First off, the priest is played by the same guy who picks Demon Shark Chick up hitchhiking. The same guy who looks like he's on his way to Limp Bizkit. And they get around this by saying, "We have received word that your twin brother has just been murdered."
Well, I guess that's the only way they can do it if they have twins in a movie, but no twin actors. So,
I mean, that's what they did with Van Damme, and he's done that in a few movies. Except Van Damme's got some decent movies. This guy, I don't know the actor's name. I don't know anything else he's in. I buy him as a priest about as much as I buy Mickey Rooney as a Japanese man. Except Mickey Rooney's more entertaining.
So the acting's not good. I'm going to infer along with the ropey plot, the writing's not all that stellar.
No, and when I say there are random events, there are also these random interjections of this paranormal ghost hunting show with a host who wants to establish a psychic link with whatever's haunting the shark.
I'm glad Chris Bores has found work again.
Gender swap Chris Bores.
Oh, even sexier.
Yes. She is... There are at least 2-3 scenes where she's actually filming her show, and out of nowhere she'll be looking at her cameraman, looking at the camera he's holding up, which looks like the same kind of over-the-counter camcorder that my grandmother gave me as a graduation present after I got out of high school. Really professional setup there. But then, just out of nowhere, she'll stop looking at her cameraman's camera, and then she'll turn and look at the actual camera, straight at the audience, clearly breaking the fourth wall.
And she winks and puts her finger to her lips.
I wish. At least that would have been something. But no, they do nothing with that. And then at some random point, you'll have Demon Shark Chick comes across this. I think the character was written as a 5 or 6 year old girl, but she's being played by a clearly 30-year-old woman.
Are there any good parts of the film?
No. None. This is one of those movies where if you're a college professor teaching a filmmaking course, or if you're an aspiring filmmaker, this is the kind of movie that you would go through as an example of how to never, ever, and the rock means ever, make a movie.
How does it end?
It ends with, first the priest tries to exorcise Demon Shark Chick, and the demon offers to leave her body if it can transfer itself into his body, which he accepts. And then when he becomes possessed, he bites this other chick, and then a portal opens out of the sky, and this shark comes down and eats him and the chick who was formerly possessed, I guess. All the deaths in this movie are implied, and not in a good way. And then we have this random, had no purpose to be there, 10-minute bit of this chick going out to the lake to sunbathe during an overcast day. Some guy creeping on her, and then she gets stabbed to death by the nun from the beginning, and then the nun gets dragged underwater by the chick she killed at the beginning of the movie, and then the chick who got bitten by demon-possessed priest goes into the water and eats somebody else.
This doesn't really sound like an ending in the usual sense. More like they stopped the movie halfway through.
That is what happened. It's like this movie doesn't end. It just slams into a brick wall, and then there's a mid-credit scene that has no reason to be there. Some girl walking around the aquarium. The scene goes on for 7 minutes. I timed it. 7 fucking minutes.
This movie's giving Manos a run for its money.
At least Manos has a plot and structure. And then she just randomly looks at the camera and with demon eyes.
Oh, so it's also ripping off Michael Jackson.
Oh. Michael Jackson would wipe his ass with this movie. He would moonwalk all over this movie. And the most baffling thing about it is that this movie looks like, it legit looks and feels like something I could have made in high school when I was taking a video editing class my junior and senior years. And IMDb claims its budget is around $300,000. I'm assuming most of that budget went into making the CG shark they use in a few scenes, because that's the only fucking way.
Just from what you said, I thought you were actually going to stop at 300.
No! 300,000! Which is why I think this movie is a tax write-off. Because there's no attempt at color grading any of the footage. Most of the footage was shot on days where where it's all overexposed. There's no white balance. There's no color grading. There's none of that. They clearly didn't have separate audio clearly didn't have microphones to record the audio separately, because it all sounds like it was recorded on their camcorder's built-in mic. Like, you'll constantly get ambient noise, drowning out the dialogue. I'm not even joking. There are several points. This is a recurring problem throughout the movie. There are several points where you can actually hear the cameraman breathing. Like...
Well, maybe that's part of the effects, because he's capturing what a terrified onlooker would be seeing.
There is, they have a small part where they got footage inside of a hospital, and it doesn't look like they had permission to film there. It looks like they just stuck the camera in somebody's bag and then just kind of walked down the hall with the camera pointing forward. They're like $300,000. I've seen movies that are shot on budgets of less than $20,000 that don't have the problems this movie does.
Well, these are the types of problems that you can't solve with money.
No.
And not having money doesn't cause them, so...
No. I always tell people, if you want an example of an independent movie that works, look at the movies Brad Jones and Ryan Mitchell have done together. The Cinema Snob movie and Jesus Bro are perfect examples of how you could stretch a budget and still make a decent flick.
I ask this whenever we come across a bad movie. Does this have any value as a so bad it's good film, or is it just bad?
It's just bad.
Okay.
Like, look, Manos is fucking... Manos is The Shining compared to this.
Manos had that charming clarinet music.
Yes. Manos at least had some, like... With Manos, those people... They wanted to make a movie. They were just incompetent. This movie is... This movie is blatantly... It's bad on purpose because there's an audience for people who review bad movies on YouTube.
Well then, Shark Exorcist. Don't even think you'll get a laugh from it.
No, just the only way you can watch this is if you want a perfect example of how to not make a movie, ever.
It's still better. Still better than The Last Light.
Yeah, because at least you didn't get 3/4 of the runtime devoted to some idiot stumbling in the dark and trying to convince himself that he's just being screwed with by a bunch of kids.
Alright.
I guess that's going to do it for this week's edition of Kris Vents. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.